Hello and welcome to Cavs Daily, your one-stop shop for everything Cavs related. I'm your host, Paul Williams, the authority of Cleveland Cavalier basketball. Appreciate you guys being here with me today as I try to drop another banger for you. If you do think it is a solid video, if you could at the end, give me a like. More importantly, subscribe. Come along for the ride as we are dropping daily as we are going to watch the Cavs win the 2025-26 championship. After we win the ship, I will record the video from the parade, and I will get a lot of special access for you guys throughout the year. So stay in tune, stay in touch. If you ever have any ideas, suggestions, complaints, let me know. I'm always receptive. I know I can get better. And yeah, we're just here to start a community of real Cavs fans, real Clevelanders, or Cleveland fans, no matter where you're from, that really bleed wine and gold and want to discuss our squad and our team and everything that goes along with that. Now, with the longest opening rant I've ever done out of the way, let's get to the first topic of the day, which is the season opener against the Knicks in just 4 short days. The Cavs and the Knicks are the two teams that are favorite to win the Eastern Conference this season and represent our conference in the finals. It's kind of Cavs, Knicks, and then everyone else as far as the outlook going into the season. Things change fast, injuries happen, guys regress, so doesn't mean it's set in stone that these are going to be the two teams to beat, but that's where it's at right now. So it's only fitting that these two tip off against each other. The game will be played in Madison Square Garden in New York. It will be a nationally televised game, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The Cavs will be without a couple key players, including starters Max Strus and Darius Garland, but no excuses. This is why we have the depth that we have, so we can still do what we need to do to not just maintain, but hopefully dominate again throughout the regular season and set ourselves up well when it comes to playoffs. Now, as far as some of the keys to this game on Wednesday and to this matchup in general, because they will face each other 4 times in the regular season, and there's a very high chance that they collide again in the playoffs. So while I'm going to talk about keys to this coming game, it's also kind of a guide for the Knicks versus Cavs matchup, which should be one of the best all season, and then hopefully a very, very fun playoff matchup. I think the Cavs are a tough matchup for the New York Knicks. I think our length, our versatility, our perimeter scoring, and our interior scoring are all things that gives the Knicks a lot of problems. While New York is a very good team, they do have some deficiencies, and the Cavs do have the personnel to exploit those deficiencies. The Knicks are kind of overly reliant on a couple players to do most of the scoring and carry most of the offensive load. That's Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. And the Cavs have done a pretty good job of usually at least keeping one of them in check and holding one of them below their standard of a game. And they also have kind of just deployed the strategy where these two aren't going to be the reason we lose. Like, if the other guys step up and hit shots and make plays, fine, but we're not going to let Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns just do what they want, both drop 30 and play to the Knicks' advantages. I think with our personnel, especially this year, like defensively, we can have so many different looks that we throw at Jalen Brunson that can cause him a lot of problems. I mean, first of all, Donovan will be matched up on him sometimes, and Donovan is quick enough and athletic enough to at least give Brunson some problems. Of course, Brunson's still going to get his, but I don't hate that matchup. But a lot of times it'll be guys like DeAndre Hunter, or early on with Max Strus and Darius Garland out, Sam Merrill might get matched up on him a little bit. And then we bring in I won't say a lot, but a good amount of guys with length and quickness and the type of build, the player build that I think gives Brunson the most problems. Guys like Lonzo Ball and Jalen Tyson, two long, tall, and athletic defenders. I think they could really be a key cog in this matchup, as if you give Tyson 13 minutes in the game where he's really just guarding Brunson and hopefully knocking down open shots, and then you give Lonzo, out of the 22 minutes he plays, maybe have 12 to 15 guarding Brunson. I mean, that's about 80% of the time Brunson will spend on the court right there. So there are ways where the Cavs can really, really kind of isolate that matchup and make it very tough on Jalen Brunson. And then when it comes to Cat, I mean, we have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So that alone has made it tough for Karl Anthony Towns whenever he's played the Cavs in recent years. He had a lot of tough games against us last season where the Cavs went 4-0 versus the Knicks, and it wasn't like a lucky 4-0. It was the same exact blueprint every single game. In the 4-game sweep of the Knicks last year, the Cavs held New York to between 101 and 105 points in every single game. That was well below New York's average for the season, and it just kind of highlights where the Cavs can really make it tough on New York on the defensive end by using their depth, their length, and their defensive versatility to really take guys like Brunson and Cat out of the game. If Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and Josh Hart are going to be hitting shots and dropping, two of them drop 20, then maybe the Knicks will beat the Cavs. But I'll take those chances if I'm a Cleveland fan. I like how we match up against the Knicks. On offense, the Knicks just don't have enough to slow the Cavs down. Also evident by the matchups last year where the Cavs, I won't say had their way with the Knicks, but they didn't have trouble scoring for the most part. A couple of the games were more grinded out games where the Cavs showed they could win those type of games against the Knicks, where they scored around it was like a 110 to 104 type game. But then the other two games, the Cavs showed they can also still have the same type of defensive success against the Knicks, but offensively they can explode and do what they did most of the season, where the Cavs dropped 124 in a game against the Knicks last season and also 142. So the Cavs showed they could do it either way, whether you want to grind it out and we have to play more of a half-court game and not get as many shots up in that game. We could still beat New York. Or if you want to have an open game where you're really just getting in transition and going and putting up points in a hurry, the Cavs could do that too, as evident by dropping 142 on the Knicks' head last season. So love the matchups, and I love who we have this season even more to terrorize New York's defense. OG Anunoby is a pretty good defender. Josh Hart is a decent to solid defender. Mikal Bridges really dropped off the last couple of years. He was a good defender, but he doesn't worry me on that end anymore. Karl Anthony Towns is one of the worst defensive bigs in the league, and Jalen Brunson is one of the worst defensive guards in the league. So one of those two will be on the court at all times, and a lot of the time it'll be both of them. So there's going to be opportunities pretty much at all times of the game where the Cavs can exploit some of the Knicks' defensive weaknesses, like using the pick and roll to get switches and get Donovan or Brunson guarding Donovan, or Cat on Mobley, and even Jared Allen. I like our chances with Jared Allen if Cat is guarding him. And if the Knicks go with their starting lineup of Brunson, Hart, Anunoby, Bridges, Towns, the Cavs' size can definitely exploit that. I mean, with Mobley and Jared Allen, the Knicks don't really have an answer for that. If Cat is guarding Jared Allen, who's guarding Evan Mobley? Don't tell me Mikal Bridges or Josh Hart. That's something the Cavs can ISO and take advantage of all day long. And if the Knicks go big with Mitchell Robinson at center and Cat at power forward, we're still good. I mean, we still have those two bigs, and Jared Allen could kind of tire out either Robinson or Cat, whichever one's guarding him. And if Robinson's guarding Mobley, Mobley's too quick. He can use his lateral quickness and his three-point shooting to still exploit that matchup. So the Cavs are going to have mismatches most of the time on the court, and the Knicks already struggle with pick-and-roll defense and the fact that they have two very weak defenders in their lineup at most times. So there's a lot of ways the Cavs can exploit that. I do think they will. The Cavs will have to keep their emotions in check, being game one in Madison Square Garden. I know there's going to be a lot of excitement and nervousness and just the emotions that come with a big basketball game. So the Cavs got to try to stay even-keeled for the most part. New York's going to go on their runs, and the Garden will be very, very loud and going crazy, and the Cavs just have to stay within themselves through those times, and I think we'll be fine. I'll give exact predictions in maybe an episode or two, but yeah, those are the keys to the game, and those are where I think the Cavs can really take advantage and win their game versus New York on Wednesday. To switch it up a little bit, I wanted to kind of see where we were at as a fan base now going into a fresh season after having a terrible taste in our mouth for the entire offseason, losing to the Pacers in round 2 of the playoffs. I know a lot of fans at the time kind of jumped right back off the bandwagon as soon as they got back on a few months prior because the Cavs were doing so good in the regular season. But those fans are on and off all the time, and that's just going to happen. Every fan base has that segment of fans, but I want to see the core and the larger amount of our fan base. Are we 100% fully like back on the bandwagon, and do you believe in this team? Do you think last season was more injury related and the Cavs are destined and prepped to make this finals run that's been in front of them now for a couple years? Or do you still have a lot of reservations? Are you kind of in the middle where you're going to wait and see, but you're keeping hope? Or are you just totally out, and even if they go 82-0, you're not going to have faith in the playoffs, and until they get to at least the Eastern Conference Final, that's not going to change for you? I've heard people from the end of the spectrum that has no faith in the Cavs to, I guess, people on the other end, closer to probably my opinion, where they're still all in and they believe the Cavs will win the championship this year, or at least have a very, very successful year, and they're 100% confident in their team. I'd say I get the feel that the majority is kind of in the camp where they still have faith in their team. They're still going to support and back their team, but there are going to be reservations until we get to April and May next season, no matter what. And I think that's fair. I understand it. The Cavs haven't did themselves favors in the playoffs the last few seasons to make fans feel differently. So I definitely respect that and think that is probably the most fair stance at the moment. But I personally, I'm all in. I believe in this team so much. I think this is the best team the Cavs had outside of maybe the 2016 version of the Cavs. This team is loaded, and loaded in the right way for a playoff run, not just for regular season success. So I'm fully on board and confident in this team. I'd love to hear where you guys are at so we can get a better idea as an overall fan base. Now, kind of along those same lines, who are the guys on the team that, whether you're fully on the bandwagon, off the bandwagon, or in the middle, that you do trust and that you would feel good about having on the court in a big game in the playoffs? I know that fluctuates and goes up and down depending on maybe what happened the previous playoffs or what's going on during the regular season, but I think there's a core group of guys we can kind of point to already that, at least me personally, I feel good about. And then there's guys on the other spectrum that haven't really done themselves favors and that are going to have to answer those questions in the playoffs next year. Jared Allen comes to mind the most for that category. I love him. He's a great player and an underrated player, but I could see why people might not fully trust him when it really comes down to it, and might not want him on the court when it really comes down to it. Ty Jerome, if he was, I mean, he's not on the team anymore, but he's a prime example of a guy that, while I'm sure everyone loved his regular season, I don't think many people would trust him right now if he was still on this Cavs team after what we saw out of him in the playoffs last year. For me, I have a core guys that I do trust. Just off the bat, Evan and Donovan, I trust fully. I know Evan still hasn't put it all the way together in every playoff game the last couple of years, but he's shown more than enough and had some huge games like in Boston a couple years ago or last year in the first round. So Mobley, I still do have that full confidence and faith in. Donovan, same thing. I'll go to war with him anytime and feel great about it. And then some of the new guys I feel good about too. Like I would trust, health permitting, Lonzo and Larry Nance as well if they were out there in big moments. Not to maybe be the superstar of the game and win the game for us, but I'd feel comfortable knowing that they'll make the right play. They'll stay under control when things get tough. They'll stay even keeled and not let their emotions get the best of them. So I would feel good with them. I also would feel good with Max Strus. I trust Max Strus. He seems to always rise to the occasion and play better when everything's on the line. So he's another guy I really have a lot of trust in. DeAndre Hunter was kind of on and off in the playoffs last year, so I could see why some people may not be fully on board trusting him yet. I trust him, but maybe not to the level I trust some of those other guys yet. Darius Garland, I think, is someone that would probably be the most controversial guy to talk about in this type of category, because there's going to be some people that are just out on him, I'm sure, but there's also going to be some real supporters of him. I personally trust Darius. If he's healthy and playing at least at 90%, I'll preface with that because he's really bad when he's injured. I trust him. Like, I think he will come through in the clutch and make the right plays and hit the big shots. And I think his defense is passable enough when it needs to be. So I trust him. I'd be good with him in a lineup in a big moment. But I'd say the lineup, let's just throw together the trust lineup right now. I'd say Donovan, Max, Mobley, that's the core, and we could kind of fill in from there. We could throw Hunter in there in one spot. Or no, I'm sorry. How about this? How about Lonzo, Donovan, DeAndre, Larry Nance, Evan Mobley? I kind of really, really like that. I mean, if you want to switch out Strus for Hunter or Nance, depending if you want to go a little smaller or stay a little bigger, I'd be fine with either one. But yeah, I would like that lineup a lot, and that might be the one I trust the most at the moment. We're going to need to talk about that more down the road. Let's see a little basketball, and then we'll revisit that. And to wrap things up today, just wanted to touch on a previous piece I've recently read on CBSSports.com. Finally, a national pundit got some type of NBA content or predictions right. Well, at least in my eyes, I think they got it right, and they understood the assignment when it came to evaluating the Cavs and the part of the Cavs that they were making the article about. And that was the CBS Sports article talking about or predicting the top predicting the ranking of each team defensively going into the year. I think it was a mix of kind of predicting what they think will happen, who they think is the top defenses right now, and where they think they'll rank at the end of the season. They had the Cavs third, just behind the OKC Thunder, who, I mean, I'm okay with that. They had the best defense last year, and you have to respect it. They do have a good defense. And then the Orlando Magic came in at second, who I guess I'm okay with that as well, just because how slow they play and how important their defense is to their whole team. If they're not a top defense, they really have no chance to contend in my eyes. while the Cavs could be a solid defense, but with their great offense, I still think they can contend. But yeah, I'm good with the ranking of third for the Cavs. They were just ahead of the Rockets and Spurs, who were fourth and fifth, respectively. And they talked about how the Cavs did drop off a little bit last year, just being number 8 overall defensively after being top 5 the previous couple of seasons. But they noted a lot of things that we've talked about where, the Cavs dropped off a little defensively last year, but they played so much faster in such a different type of game and a brand new system, brand new offense, and were so potent offensively. Some of that was bound to happen. I do think they could have still managed to get into the top 5 last season, but I think with the changes they made I think last year they were still talent-wise a top 5 defense, but with the changes they've made for this year, I think they're an even more dominant defensive team, at least potentially. I think they could be the top defensive unit in the NBA with the roster they have. If we have good health and we're consistently playing our main 8 to 10 guys and having Lonzo and Larry Nance and Jalen Tyson a big part of the rotation, I mean, the Cavs have so many elite defenders that they can mix and match. It's going to be tough to hold them out of the top 5 defensively throughout the year. So kudos to CBS Sports for getting it right. They could have easily just went off of the rankings from last season and underranked or not paid attention to the changes the Cavs have made that are going to make them so much better defensively, and the fact that they already were one of the most talented defensive teams in the league the last 3 or 4 years. So good job, CBS Sports, getting that right. The Cavs are a top 3 defense in the NBA. Mark it down. You heard it here first. With that, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Got to hop into the studio shortly to do some radio stuff, but always making sure I make time for Cavs Daily. If you're still hanging out with me, please subscribe and roll with me throughout this season. I appreciate you guys so much for taking your time to give to me, and I will see you all tomorrow.